Hi, this is Freya and welcome to Otherworldly. Today in this video we are taking a look at the dressage system from Mythril for the Teeglepet horses. This system is currently available at the Hullabazoo event, which focuses on animash, rideable animals, companion animals and accessories for them. And this is an add-on accessory for the Teeglepet horses. It has been available before for the Teeglepet avatar horse, but it has now been adapted for the Teeglepets, which are probably more widely used since you don't need a separate avatar. They have there are pros and cons between the avatar and the Teeglepet depending on what you want to do. I love them both, but this is going to be for the pet. And you've got this dressage system out for all of the released breeds except the Shetland. So I'm going to show you the Frisian today, but you've got it for the Unicorn, Clydesdale, Arabian, and so on. There's also a extra HUD available at Hullabazoo, which is the Hot Ecole add-on, and there you get all breeds in one package. That's the Airs Above the Ground, think Spanish riding school and so on. We're going to take a look at both, but we're going to start with the basic dressage package. And what you want to do, if you get this one, is to start with the instructions. Read if you want to live. Well, you probably won't die if you don't, but why take the risk? And it will help you. It has some information both on how to install the system and also how you might want to use it in SL if you're planning to take part in dressage competitions and similar things, what you might need for, dressage, tack, and so on. I'm going with a Baroque look and a Baroque tack today, so not a classic English dressage look by any means. I'm also not, I think, planning to compete in dressage in SL. I have enough time training for that in RL. So, because it does take some training, it's easier to understand the basics of the system, but actually using it with a bit of finesse, well, you will see when I start recording that it's not that easy. You will need to practice. So the most important thing to start with is the installation. You want to make sure you install it into the right horse. If you have multiple rests, I would move the horse in question and rest it next to it so that there is no risk of a mix-up, but just look carefully at the pop-up and make sure it's the right horse. And then you get it installed and you have two different configs. It's got a little animation image that shows you how you can switch between the base config and the regular config. In fact, I should probably go ahead and do that. Here, we've got the Mythril Teeglepet dressage config and the regular Frisian config. We are currently on the dressage config, so nice and easy to switch. The package comes with some additional extras. You can, for example, like I do, have done here, save out different versions of the HUD. More stripped down HUDs would basically have fewer of the different moves. So if you just want to learn the basics before you go to the more complex animations, just because there's a little much to keep track of on the HUD. You've got gestures that you can save out if you want to use gestures to switch. I don't use gestures a lot myself, so it probably would take me longer, but I can see how that would be useful because handling the keyboard and clicking to switch, well, let's just say I'm not a great computer game player. I suffered through the secret world with mostly as a keyboard turner, and those who play games know that that means you're not particularly skilled at the mouse keyboard combination. Anyway, that's a bit of a digression. What else do we have? You've got some little solutions such for starting and finishing your program, all these little extras. But that's basically it. You install it. Oh, and of course, you've got the deluxe camera HUD, which I'm going to be showing you as part of the video, because that allows you to go into different preset modes for where the camera is placed, which you can set up yourself, but switching quickly between it, that can be really tricksy. So I found that really nifty. But again, it's going to take some practice to use it really well. The add-on, if we just quickly look at that, we've got here, and that's just another applier, and then it offers two HUDs. You can either have the Optical on its own, or you can have the combined HUD of both the Dressage, the regular Dressage, and the Optical. That's about it. So for the next step, I figured I would jump onto my little Frisian and try and show you some of the moves. Up we go, and we're going to start by, oh yeah, I forgot that I had set my zoom to be video zoomy. That was not perhaps so clever. We will just quickly, or carefully rather, move ourselves in, and the adjustments I made yesterday when I was fiddling with this have held well, so I'm pretty well positioned in the saddle. That's good. Now I'm not going to, well, I might as well allow it to attach the regular Dressage HUD, because that's what we're going to start with. And what I want to do first of all is I actually need to escape out, which will move it like that, because I can't have a lock on the camera if I want to use the camera HUD. And I am going to be adding the camera HUD in just a moment. There we have the deluxe camera HUD. And then I'm going to close this up so it's out of the way. And here you can see that it just basically has different choices for where to place the camera. Whereas the Dressage HUD, you've got different dressage moves. You've got the speed of the horse, the style, which is, if you don't know anything about dressage, there's actually a short dictionary in the instructions which explains things like, you know, cadence and rhythm, and you know, what does it mean to have it be collected or working. That's basically how slow or fast, in a sense, that the horse works within a particular gait. So like a collected trot, the horse's energy goes more upwards than forwards, whereas in an extended trot, it is more about moving forward and not so much about moving upwards. It's basically where the energy from the hind legs is going, if you simplify it. And then you've got the special things like the passage or the piaffe, which is an extremely collected version where a lot of the energy goes upwards. And you've got various turns that you can do. As I said, I'm going to have to fiddle with this. I've tried out a couple of things, but I wanted to show you a little bit of how the camera moves and how does the feel of the system is, because I really like these animations. I think they're brilliant, and the work that's gone into them is absolutely fantastic. But I don't think I'll be able to put together a whole dressage program for you. So we are going to start with, I think, the behind camera, just to get myself moving. And I'm going to start at a trot. No, I'm not. I am cantering. So we shall see. I'm going to be steering with one hand here. You can see me cantering around like this. And then I'm going to switch to the laggy cam, which is a bit more of a... Oops, and now I am doing a turn instead. A very tight turn. Let's go this way. Now, as you can see here, I'm on the wrong leading leg in this canter, I think. No, I actually have it on switches. You can see here how the horse changes which leg goes forward first in the canter. That's called the change of leading leg. It's you can do it like every step, every other step, every 3 steps, every 4 steps. Doing it in a circle like this is quite complicated. That's a high level move. I'm gonna see if I can just test out this camera a bit more here. You see it follows really nicely. The laggy cam has oh no, I am going to right out into the water. That's not quite what I intended. I do like having this nice big space to myself, though. I basically decided that it was safest to go up into one of my sky landscapes where I'd have nothing to run into except possibly the ocean. And oh, and here's the drama cam, which is kind of close up, seeing the horse working like this. Very nice. Or we can go to the, trying to make smooth changes here, up to the sky cam. Or maybe we should have the trail cam, which falls behind. Or do you want to have a close look at the legs? That also works. So this is fabulous for video. In fact, I am thinking that I might use this for other things as well. It should work fine. Driving, there you behind, overhead, just a regular behind, laggy cam again. That's definitely my favorite for nice close-ups. So let's change to a trot. Go out a little bit. This has a very nice big showy trot that's typical for the Frisian. We are going to do a, let's see, I'm not really sure how the pirouette works. It's probably something I need to look into. But let's do the extended trot instead. Maybe zoom out a little bit to give you a better look at that. No, that's too much. Trail, perhaps? Yeah, there we go. Nice extended trot. I am bouncing a little bit. It is very difficult to time 2 objects to work perfectly like that. So there, I'm going to go out just a little bit further to give you a bit more space. I can still control that a little bit from once I set a camera position. I can obviously use the scroll wheel to go in and out. Oh, but this should be excellent then for, let's go back to collected to show you some of the differences here. Shorter stride, more power upwards, and then working, little bit more extension to the leg. Medium, again more extension, and finally extended, which has quite a nice power to it. And there we go, into the passage. As you can see, lots of upward motion instead of forward. Well, I could sit here for a very long time and look at myself ride around. It's the steering is a little complicated, but it's definitely much easier to do a passage than I've found it in real life. I have had the opportunity to try it once on a very well-trained horse. It's quite cool. Oops. Drama cam suddenly got a little too dramatic. We're all of a sudden right inside of the horse, I think. But here the laggy cam might be a good choice to show off the power of the passage. And if I stop here, stop moving forward, I will go into a piaffe, which is basically all the energy going upwards. and the horse is still supposed to move every leg, go through the beats, but sending all the energy upwards. Very difficult. Some horses get very showy with their front legs and do very little with their back legs. Others find it difficult not to travel forward. Let's see, I wonder about the other, if I turn this off and have a little fiddle here. So we've looked at these and we've looked at the camera HUD. Let's see about the pivot option. How does that? Okay, well, we're still on the I think I'll change to, well, that's the wrong lead, of course. I should be going there, and I'm gonna go a collected canter. There you saw a nice difference in the canter as well when I shifted between collected and extended. There we go. We have now a turn on the haunches, which is basically you moving sideways with the back end leading a little bit. We can do it with the shoulder instead. Here you see that I have a little bit of a problem with the terminology here because it is actually different in... it doesn't translate directly from English to Swedish. So what we call this is actually an open, because it looks like you're about to open into a circle. So this move is what we call, and then the one on the haunches is, we call this ending. Basically, you are at the very end of a circle, you're coming out of a circle, and you keep going forward in the same curve to the horse as if you were ending a circle. And then we have the leg yield, which is about the same. That one translates very well. You're moving the horse sideways instead of forward. You can see it. Here I'm doing a very extreme leg yield, I can tell you that much. The horse is moving very much forward, sideways. Usually, it depends on how much of an angle you want to travel at, but that's fairly strong. And then we go back to straight work instead of lateral work. The only thing I haven't quite figured out how it works is the pirouette. We'll see if I can figure it out in... turn on the forehand. Okay, well, that just controls how you turn. I see. So here, we're going to start with the pirouette, which means that I turn around the back legs. Center keeps it even and centered, and a turn on the forehand means the horse is going basically in the same place with his forehand, the forelegs, and it is moving the rest of the body around it. So it's basically, where is the pivot point of the horse? So it just changes the style of all your turns to use the selected pivot. So I think we've gone through most of the regular dressage here, which means that next up is the airs above the ground. So we'll see how that works. Into the inventory we dive again, and we detach the dressage HUD, and I think we'll go with we'll have a look at how they look. So the combined HUD, which I had accidentally, or I had shifted it around earlier to move away from another HUD, so I will move back there. So we have a compressed version of, it's got all the options in here, but then you've got more under the special ones. You don't just have the Passage and Piaffe, you've got a couple of other things, and then you've got various actions as well. So I think this one will do fine, the combined one actually, because that allows me to change up a few other things at the same time. We'll close that again, and let's move forward at a Spanish walk. It's a very distinct type of walk where the horse lifts the hind forelimbs very high and kind of straight forward. I've tried this once. It's a pretty cool feeling. It was just, again, a very well-trained horse, and I just had to push a button, essentially. I don't really know how to do this myself. So that's pretty cool. And then we have some that are more in the area of Spanish riding school. For example, the Levade. Oh, I've got to move myself around here so that you can actually see the Levade. This is an exercise that takes a lot of strength from the horse because it's essentially supposed to balance for a few seconds on its hind legs. In a sense, it is an extreme form of collection where the horse is so collected that it's actually resting all of its weight on its hind legs. Horses don't do it for this long. Also, if you want to get really extreme with your Levade, you move into a courbette. And that is, well, it should be when I'm moving. Yes, there we go. I'm going to go out with the sky cam here, I think. Or maybe the trail cam, and go from the side. You don't want to turn while doing this, but basically the horse is leaping forward on its hind legs. See if I can get a good side view here. It's extremely strenuous. Again, I don't know how many leaps a horse is able to do. I've seen certainly 3-4 being done at the Spanish riding school. You know, they have these very compact horses that have the right sort of center of gravity for doing this. If your horse is doing this when it is not trained to do it, you don't appreciate it as a rider. Fortunately, I've never been in that situation, but yes, horses are able to do all sorts of things on their hind legs, but ideally they are trained to do it and don't just get the idea of jumping forward, because then you're in trouble. The actions are also fairly extreme, some of them, especially the capriole, which is probably considered the most difficult leap to do, and it's often the sort of the star of the show at the Spanish riding school, and it looks like this. As you can see, it's not entirely easy to get the rider to animate correctly in this position. There has to be no lag in the timing and everything, so you will fly around a little bit. But basically, it is the horse rearing up on its hind legs and then kicking out with the hind legs so that for a very short time it is suspended in the air. I've seen some amazing photos of this when they managed to catch it at just the right moment. The ballotade I am less familiar with. Let's see what that one looks like. Okay, it is similar to the capriole, but there's no extension of the legs as there should be in the capriole. The croupade is a reverse, in a sense. The horse goes up first and then kicks out backwards rather than but the front legs are straight, so it's more like a trained buck, and I wouldn't want to be on there either. And then we have this one, which is more, you see it more in the Andalusians or the PREs than the Lipizans, I think. And you often see it like in circus horses and so on, basically waving the front leg. It's kind of a half Spanish walk. It's just doing it. And then we have some more circusy tricks, which is going down in a nice bow like that. That's the half bow. And then we go down in the full bow, which is like that. Good stretches for horses, actually. Although if you do teach horses any tricks like this, you want to be very sure that your commands aren't things that people could accidentally use if you ever sell your horse. I was just involved in a discussion on a forum about that, or following a discussion on a forum that don't teach horses funny tricks and then sell them, and people might accidentally like, oops, that made the horse rear. That's not very good. Anyway, I hope I have given you a nice look at this dressage system. I believe there's supposed to be demo horses where you can test it at Hullabazoo. I haven't been back to check if that was possible or whether it was too laggy. But if so, I think you should check it out. If you have any sort of interest in horse riding in SL, this one's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun for photos as well, photos and videos. I said it takes a lot of work to do these animations, so they're not pricey for what you get. Obviously, if you like me have ended up buying all 5-6 horses from Teeglepet and you need one for each of them, it might start getting a little pricey, yes. But if you're horse crazy, you're horse crazy, and you know that RL horses cost a lot more. So anyway, that's it for me this time. I might be back fairly shortly with a skin fair video if I can find the time. Most of my time has been eaten up lately by doing rehab work with my RL horse. Pixel horses don't need that, but she needs it. So I've had a little bit of a hard time squeezing in the videos. But until the next time, and do go and check out the Mythril Dressage System at Hullabazoo.